Good morning, everybody. I'm Daniel Booth, and welcome to this morning's webinar on Enhance's new product, membership and subscription management power app for Business Central. Bit of a welcoming introduction. First of all, about myself. I'm Dan. I am the lead pre-sales consultant here at Enhance for the ERP side and Power Platform. My background is SEMA qualified accountancy, but I've worked within recently our product development team and now pre-sales in Enhance. And part of my passion for, especially for finance, is to making sure that processes are as easy as possible, end to end. From my experience over 25 years of working in finance, quite often finance people are left to the end to deal with some problems that may have arisen from processes earlier in the, so things that go on earlier in the process. And one of the things that around where my sort of skill set and thought patterns are around recurring income, recognizing revenue correctly, and making processing and notifications, especially around renewals, whether that's a contract renewal, whether it's a membership renewal, things like that, as easy as possible for organizations. And hopefully this will come across over the next 40 minutes as to what we've done within the Power App and how easy that can make your end-to-end process, managing not just the financial side of membership and subscriptions, but also customer interactions as well. A couple of bits of housekeeping. So during the session, all the lines will be set to mute to avoid any unnecessary noise interference. The session is quite sort of packed today, so please feel free to ask any questions throughout the session in the chat panel at the right hand side. And what I will do, generally when I do sessions like this, as I always say, sort of questions are organisation specific. So what I will do after the session, I will answer them offline via emails, and we can start some conversations via email afterwards. If you want to leave to the very end, my contact details will be provided on the final slide, so you will have a chance if you want to see the whole presentation before emailing. Please feel free to email, call either myself, your account manager, or our generic sorts of resources, and we can start conversations that way. A little bit of an agenda. So we're going to run through, and it won't be death by PowerPoint, I do promise that. We're going to run through what the app is, what it does, and how we built it. We're going to a quick slide on the benefits of adopting our product and what it brings to an organisation, key benefits. Then we're going to get into the product itself. We're going to go through membership, subscription, creation in the app, generation of an invoice, how that comes into Business Central, how that splits revenue across periods, how that then you can do a credit note in the app, and how we can generate renewal documentation and send automatically to your subscriber, member, or customer as well. So there is quite a lot to get through in the next 40-45 minutes or so. So first of all, the product. What is it? Well, whatever all what I show today, the same functionality applies on mobile and tablet devices. This is built on a Power App, so it's fully cloud-based. You can be doing this from wherever you need to be. It's a management of subscription and membership and transactional system. So you record one with the anniversary dates of your member or subscriber, all the financial information. As I mentioned before, we've got automated renewal documentation and tracking. We've got automated sales invoicing based on billing profiles. Some members you may bill quarterly, some you may bill annually. And it's all based on that logic that's within the system and automatically producing as per your billing profiles. And again, as I said, you've got the tracking of the credit notes. You may have somebody who gets a goodwill credit note against a subscription or a membership. We can track all that through the app. And outside of Business Central, with only the key financial transactions integrated into Business Central. We can hold invoices. You can query renewals. You can state that a membership or a subscriber is at risk and is terminating and things like that. So it does give you really good analytics of your subscriber and membership base. We've got live integrations to Business Central. So this isn't an app that's separate that you need to export information and then import it either via CSV or Excel into BC. This is live, one point of data entry one point of management all the way through to BC. And what this actually does is, if you have somebody managing your membership and subscription base, it means you do not need to give them access to Business Central. We can do that. They can just have access to the app. So it really does allow organisations, and one of the key things that I'm really keen on is keeping non-financial people out of Business Central. If they don't need it, why give it them? We've got these apps, we've got the same functionality, we've got more easy to understand functionality, and that will come across. Now, the one thing just to say, this uses items in Business Central. So you'd have different membership types, different subscription types. You can have different type and classifications in the app, so you don't need to have different types of item in Business Central. But we use items to then integrate as a sales invoice or a credit note. And that allows you to have your default dimensions against your items. You could have your default dimensions against your customers, things like that. That all integrates seamlessly on integration into BC when the invoice is done. And I will walk through that and show you how that works over the next 40 minutes. And then obviously on top of that, we need to do the analytics. There's a lot of good analytics. There's a full reporting suite via Power BI, which will show details on contracts, statuses, historical billing, future billing forecasts, why people have cancelled, credit note reasons, all that sort of stuff. Really easy to get from the data and the structure of how the app is built. As with everything we at Enhance try and do, we facilitate with Microsoft technology. So we're not rewriting the rules on this. We are using the tools that Microsoft have given us as a development house to build new products. So we have built the app on a Power App. It uses Power Automate to push and pull information through, and we use Power BI to report. This is all within the Microsoft stack. Nothing outside of the Microsoft stack. So before I get into the product itself, what are the benefits of this solution? Well, there's a few. I could do 5 or 6 slides on this, but let's pick out the key ones. It's very easy to use, and you'll see that shortly. And you can categorize your members and subscribers into custom categories that you need for further sort of analysis without having to put this information into Business Central. You could have new subscribers 2022, so that you've always got a list in 2023, so you can see who has subscribed, the initial subscription time. You can have different categories on your members. You don't need them in BC. You could just point them to one item in BC. That builds, and it goes to the relevant GL account. You've got the ability to categorize. If you have multiple BC companies, which a number of our NFPs and charities and commercial organisations do, this links, it's based tenant to tenant. So the Power App can spread across multiple BC companies. You're not logging in, you've not got a different app per company. Everything is in the one place, and you've got the ability to filter on company so that you can really go to the company that you need to. But everything is in the one place. Seamless integrations, we push this a lot. We use Power Automate to integrate and pull information through into the app from Business Central and push information to Business Central. There's no duplicate keying of any data. This is a seamless end-to-end process. One of the biggest things our product does is recognize it updates deferral schedules in Business Central. So if you have membership and subscribers that cross financial periods, and you have to recognize the relevant revenue in the financial periods or in the monthly periods, our app looks at the date periods covered, looks at the deferral template that's assigned to the item in Business Central, and updates that schedule by invoice line. So you're not having to go in, you're not having to calculate, you're not having to amend the number of periods, you're not having to amend the start date of the periods so it recognizes revenue correctly. Our app does all that on both the invoices that are raised and the credit note. So it does assist in the correct recognition of revenue without you guys having to do that manually, which is a really, really big win for customers who have this and have this as a problem and have to go in and update the deferral schedules at every line level on every transaction. As I said before, it takes the structure directly from the items in BC. So, set up BC right, the app comes through and the transactions come through. Very, very critical. The governance of all this, your customers have to exist in Business Central. Your items have to exist in Business Central. Your deferral templates have to be assigned. Your dimensions that come across on the integration. All the governance of this data is done is within Business Central. This also allows us to attach records. So you may have notifications, you may have different things. We can do attachments against members and subscribers. So you do have the ability to have a full auditable document storage within the app as well. That again, for members and subscribers, really is paperless. It encourages paperless processes across the piece. Power BI reports, as I say, it's not just, we don't just do it on the contract headers, but we have billing profiles, forecasting, historical statuses, forecast, and we can plan for attrition, things like that. If you use it where you put people who are thinking of cancelling, you can put members and subscribers at risk and really have that analysis to hand at the touch of a button. And finally, this is always a good winner. This isn't something that takes us weeks and weeks to put in. This will be up and running within 3 to 5 days. Depending on the amount of data it's got to read, depending on how many companies, we are typically up and running within 3 or 5 days, including training. So this isn't something that you have to invest weeks and weeks in and cost weeks and weeks to implement. So let's have a look at the product. Like I said, I promise it won't be that by PowerPoint. The real selling point of this product is the product itself. So let's have a look at it. If I go into Office 365, it's a Power App. This is what the Power App looks like. This is our first page. It says active contracts, that's members, subscribers. It's just a contract with a member and subscriber. We've got a full list of them straight away. You can contract numbers, names, customer names from Business Central. As I said, we've got contract types, when the anniversary dates are, what BC company, total amount of the contract. There's a lot of information on this page, and because it is a Power App, all this, if you'd rather, once you get lots of data in, we can export to Excel very easily, one click of a button to do any analysis that you need to do in Excel. But the first thing to say, the currencies from the supplier from Business Central, your items from Business Central. We need to decide which ERP company, which BC company you want to link to. But the first thing that we would need is these contract types. So, for example, I've got 3 contract types within the system. This could be anything. We have people using this product and using similar products, saying you have categories of members. You could have a member category A, category B, category C, and that would, allow you to do the analysis. But I've just got the 3 in here, but it's very easy to create another contract type. I can come in here and say webinar 07/04/2022 at 7 o'clock. So all I've got to do, and that's in the list. It tells me when, tells me how, all that. So I go back to the main page, and I'm going to enter one from new. We're going to go through, I'm going to talk through the process first of all. So if I enter a new contract, it asks me for a contract name. So 07/04/2022. It asks me for a contact name, job title, and email address. So if I put, now at this point, it has to look up BC companies. And these are the BC companies that set up that we've linked to be able to access via the app. I've got 2 companies in here. Those who've spoken to us before will recognise our Save the Dodo demo company. But I've got these companies here which I can access through the app that have membership and subscription billing assigned to it. Filtering on this company here will now filter on the list of customers. And this now is just a list of customers in that BC company. I'll put it to our enhanced limited. That then filters salesperson. So I can go in and put a salesperson or an analysis If you use salespeople in BC, then great, you can put that in. The salesperson code is named as such, but it could be a region. It could be used for any reason really. Currency of the company, the owner, the person creating this contract is here. That's just the header information. And then I've got the contract type. So I can either enter it in or I can click the magnifying glass and look for the different contract types, the ones that we've set up. So the one I literally just set up is there. I'll link to that. We have contract statuses. So we've got active, in query, terminating, inactive, or at risk. Let's put that in query for the moment. We then got length of contract. So you may have some members or subscribers who have signed for 3 years initially, 12 months, whatever. This is a monthly thing. So I'll just put it in for 12 months. And then the contract anniversary start date. So I'll say it's going to start today. And it runs to the 6th of April 2023. If we have an order number or some sort of reference number that needs to appear on any invoice documentation that comes out, we can attach that here. So I just put, and now we have the billing frequencies. So do you bill your membership and subscriptions annually? Do you bill them every 6 months, quarterly, monthly? Do you have a 28-day billing cycle? We've got these set up as standard in the system, but miscellaneous means if you want to bill an annual value every 48 days, you can do that. I'll just put this down as annual because I want to show how the deferral profile works. And then we have a billing profile. So we've got the frequency. This is going to throw an invoice out for renewal every and bill it for the 12-month period. But do I want to bill this 60 days in advance of the contract anniversary start date, 30 days, 0 days, and miscellaneous or in arrears? I'll put it as 30 days in advance. I'm doing it as of today, so it will pick it up. This is just standard membership and subscription header information. If I save this, it will generate a contract number. And there's a contract number. But the next bit, so you could have somebody who, you may have different membership types in BC. You might have the different membership types contracts here, but you may have different invoicing item lines in BC that you need to map to. And this is where the invoicing line section comes in. So we come into invoicing lines, we have a new line. And if I just name the line, it does make you put the ERP company again, but it only filters down on that. Now, at this point, it's looking for an item code in Business Central. Filtering down on the ERP company, and these are the item codes that we have here. We have customers who are using this who have just one code for membership, one code for subscription. We have other customers who are using different codes in membership class A, class B, class C, membership 22, all this sort of stuff. But these are items in Business Central. So in Business Central, if I just quickly go to that and I search on items, if I go down to our items in question, if I look at membership, I don't know why I was bothering between the two. Membership is here, it's set up as an item. It's got a deferral template against the item. So if I quickly look at deferral templates, if you've not seen these before, these are just how you plan to really recognize that. So for a revenue account, it's got memberships, deferral account is deferred income. If I go into here, I can see the deferral account is revenue deferrals in our system. We want it to calculate days per period. So, 31 days off 30, it's going to divide the overall value by 365 and then times it by the day in the period to recognize by month. You've got your number of periods, which is annual. But from our app, as I said, so if you recognize by days by period, and the invoicing is quarterly, our app, while the integration of the invoice, it will overwrite against that invoice the 12 to 3, so it's recognizing revenue correctly. But you've got this here, we start by the posting date. Again, our system will overwrite that to start by the date of cover. So it does do the correct and facilitate the correct proposal of revenue recognition. If I now come back to the invoicing line, so I'm going to search for membership. I'm going to have my status today as active, and I'm going to put this in. Maybe you've got, your membership value is 7,750 quid. I'm going to put 750 quid a year. If I save that now, what it does is bring across the item description from Business Central against that item. But on integration, we go further than that. It just doesn't say membership. We have it where on integration to the sales invoice line in Business Central, it will say item description at line level per item, membership for the period covering 7th of April to the 6th of April 2023. So we do add the item line description on top and put the dates in so that the customer who gets the invoice is aware what periods that's covering. So now if I save and close that invoice line, you can see it's there, it's picked up, it knows its annual billing, picked up all this information, and I'm going to save that. If I come back now to the start, this has updated the total contract amount. So now I could go in and add 2 different, 3, 4, 5, 6 different invoicing lines if you're invoicing for multiple different things. The total contract amount will be a sum of the invoicing lines here. But this is now set. This is in query. I put it in query at the start. But if I move this status to active, this means now this is a contract that I'm happy with, and the next time that invoicing period is due, an invoice will be created, a bid proposed to be created. Now, this is where, whenever I'm doing demos, we have a bit of a thing, because on a 5-minute loop, our system is going through and doing a check as to, is there a contract that is in date that should be invoiced today? So it's saying, what is the contract anniversary start date? What is the billing frequency profile, the 30 days in advance? And on a 5-minute loop, this system will go through and propose and create an invoice batch for the contracts, for the members, for the subscribers, that based on their anniversary date and based on that billing profile, an invoice should be done today. Now, timing wise, this is always one of them that I'm either really lucky or I'm not lucky, and I've got to wait 4 minutes. But you can see that all the other contracts in here show different dates. They show the contract anniversary start date beginning 2023, and that's because when an invoice has been generated for this contract, it moves the start date on, so that you know anything that is next year, that's the next contract anniversary start date. Anything which is before this is in contract, we're happy with it, and these are for your next renewal. I'm just refreshing and see if that's coming through here. No. Okay, so if I just go to invoice patch, because I've got one there already, we've got Catalyst. So this is a contract that I did the other day. You can see the dates have moved on. That was from the 1st of March. And it's in the invoice batches section. So as an overnight job, in reality, you're going to have a number of members, number of subscribers. At midnight, and 5 past midnight, it's going to come in and say, right, these are all should be invoiced, and put them in this invoices batches section. So on a regular basis, on a daily basis, on a nightly basis, somebody would need to come in. You have the ability from here to push this invoice batch statement to integrate to ERP. And I'll do it on this Catalyst one just while the other one's coming through, and save and close. That now is an invoice batch status of integrate to ERP. That's kicking off a workflow now that takes that member invoice and it's pushing it to Business Central. It's creating a sales invoice, it's creating the invoice line, it's taking all the defaults from the system, and what it's also doing is then, once the invoice has been created, it's going back into that invoice and updating all the deferrals, dates, start dates, and all the periods to match as per revenue recognition. If I refresh that, the amounts ones now come through, obviously. So let's do that one as well, so we can see that in Business Central. So again, this is the one we did, contract 27, the one we just put in. That's there. a user will come in the morning, see all the invoice batches, and you can run a flow job at the top to integrate all to ERP. And that pushes all these contracts into BC. So now if I go into Business Central, and at present, I've not touched BC, nothing at all. I've just looked at some, this can all be done outside of having the BC. Now in Business Central, I come in the morning, you get your nice desktop, you've got your nice dashboards and tiles at the front. If I go to sales invoices, the first thing it does, you can see, that's the one I pushed through and that's the one I've done this morning, 750 quid. You can see here that in external document number, it carries the contract number. That is, you remember, contract number in the app. So you've always got that link back between the two. But if I go into here, this invoice, there's a membership. You can see membership for the period, the dates of cover on the invoice. We've got defaults. You've got your fund type and your department code default that have come across. And we've got the department code membership. That could be any of your dimensions. It doesn't, this is, if I go into the membership item account, and this is where, we're not doing anything overly clever. We can come into the membership, we can look at related item dimension, reading from your dimension defaults against your item. Like I said, that could be against your customer, could be against your item, whatever the defaults are that come across, that's there. And now if I go into here and go to line, related information and deferral schedule, you can see starting on the 7th of April, it took the 23 days worth in April, and it's pushed out by every accounting period, February being low, into the 7 days in next April 2023. It's pushed out and got all of your deferral revenue in the right periods as per your revenue recognition deferral that you do as an organisation and that is tied to that item. Really quick, really simple, all in at every line. So, from a finance point of view, it brings it across as an unposted invoice. Somebody would just need to come in, post in, post. And that's committed that invoice. It's got your unposted invoice number, you get your posted invoice number 103088, and this is your invoice that can go to your customer. That, if you've got your document sending profile, that sends that invoice on to an email address on the contacting BC. All that's done, dusted, matter of seconds. Really quick, really simple. As mentioned, though, our app is just a lot more than that. So we also have credit notes that you can do. So going back to this one that we've just done, I can go into this contract and I'm thinking 750 quid. Maybe, I want to put a credit note. Maybe they've moaned, they've had some issues, they've had some, upset. They've come to you and said, I'm getting a bit annoyed. You can do credit notes through the system. So I can come in, I can say, right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a couple of months free. So from 7th of April to the 6th of June, 2 periods, I'll give you £100 credit. You can have credit reasons. So these credit reasons can be defined by you as a customer. So maybe, goodwill credit instead. This works, and this stores this credit note forevermore against this contract. So you can see what's been done, what's been given. You can go in, you've got all that nice history. As I said before, you can have notes, you can attach stuff. You've got all the lovely sort of end-to-end management of this member or subscriber from here. But if you do a credit note, you want to credit note batches. Here it is. If I go down, I can see I've got different credit notes here. I've got some that I'm holding because from a different period, but I've got CRN 1005. I want to integrate that. I can come in, integrate to ERP, save and close. So it's exactly the same process, really, as what you're doing before. And that then, on integration, comes in as a sales credit memo. I might have clicked on that a little bit too quickly because it's probably still creating it, but you can see here I've got invoice create, we've got the credit note, sales credit memo. You can come in, you can see the values there, the periods are there that it's covering, and exactly the same before. It's still be creating the document, this sort of dimensions at line level and updating the deferral schedule. But the same integration is there, and that just needs posting. But from a subscriber management point of view, everything is against this contract in the system. The next thing that obviously we understand that your members and subscribers, you may want to contact them before you might want to send them a renewal notification with what your organization has done over the past 12 months. We have the ability to do that here as well. So we can schedule this system in to automatically generate a renewal in our system, maybe 90 days before the contract anniversary or 120 days between the contract anniversary there. And it will generate a renewal starting process. What I can do though, and what we can do through this process is also kick this off manually. So if I click on the contract we were doing, up here I've got create renewal. If I just put that to yes and save and close. What this is doing now, and again, you can have this program to do it 90 days where it does that. You don't need to click on yes. It does this process automatically. But if I go into my renewals, we've now got all the renewal documentation that I've got, and we've got these. If I go into the one, you can see not starting. That means it's created the renewal proposal, but somebody would need in your organization to go through. You might want to uplift the value. You might want to do some things on it. But I can come into here. It's copied across the contract name, the email address, the value, got all this information. And we've got these statuses. So again, these can be determined by you. We've got data cleanse, that means somebody's gone through and wanted to and check the data. We've got renewal send, we've got inquiry part. Again, they can be absolutely customizable to you. But the one thing we do is on, and we can do, is on one of these statuses. So if I change this to data cleansed and save, this now can trigger the generation of a renewal document, a word-based renewal document that can be whatever you want it to be. It can have different pages, it can have different sort of terms and conditions, it's a Word document. So if you wanted to add on sort of fact sheets at the back of it, all this is using Microsoft technology, Power Automate, based on an email address or email addresses, and generating a Word document in whatever format you want. So if I refresh it, you can see here now, under the timeline, I've got a renewal document. It's in Word. It's stored against the contract. And this is just a standard Word document. I open that up. Some of you may recognize this because we use this system for our support renewals. You can see you've probably seen this sort of letter before. This is thank you for your previous support, your previous membership. And this can be, all this wording can be how you want it to be. But it also includes this section here, which is taken from the app. Who we are, who you are. It's got the contact details of the customer. It's got what you want it to be. It's got the period dates for next year, the next anniversary dates, your next subscription date, and it's got charges. Obviously, you may not want this bit. You might want them to sign something. You might want to have it as it's just a notification, like I said before, and with different pages at the back on what you've done, events coming up, things like that, and you can manage that. But what this will do is generate that document on whatever date is in the system. It doesn't just generate a document here though. It will email the document, the renewal document, to the email address on here. So, and this is my email. I've got this renewal document in PDF form, email to me as the contact on that, as that member, as that subscriber. So it really does allow you to send renewals out, to engage with your members and subscribers through this, as well as your finance elements, and as well as your credit note management, your document management, any communication back with the customer, all that can be logged in this system, fully integrating with BC to really assist you in getting your processes as simple as possible. What we also do, because there's quite a lot in here when you think about it, we've got, like I say, you've got your contract headers, you've got your billing profiles, you've got your invoicing lines, you've got all this. It's really critical that you, as customers, can analyze that data, because you're going to be able to, you've got your invoicing in BC, and your members and subscribers must exist as a customer in BC. But if you want to do some analysis on what's gone through, what's not yet been invoiced, all this sort of stuff, this is where Power BI and our Power BI reports come in. So, we've got these here. There's a lot of information on here. It doesn't look too clean, but what we try and do is when we're doing this with a customer, we'll cut down and make sure that the customer has the information they're needing. Now, I'm going to put myself, and I always like doing this. I'm going to put myself on the line here. I'm going to refresh this data. And just to show how quick this is. So this is now live. Let me sign in as the right user. Now this is where you know it's a live demo, where I get two-factor authentication, where I've got a text. Hopefully that will come through very shortly on my phone. Not as quick as I'd like. I might not be able to refresh this now without apologies for that. But what this report does is you get full analysis of all the contracts in the system. So these are everything in there. You can slice and dice your information. You've got your contract headers, you've got your contract lines, you've got the invoices raised, and what we actually do within the app. So as you saw, when the invoice is integrated to BC, you have the sales invoice number, which is the unposted invoice number. When you then post that, you get a new invoice number depending on your invoicing sort of prefixes and things like that within your organization. We carry both within this app. So you can see what invoices have been generated in the app that haven't yet integrated to Business Central. And you can also get a full analysis on what it integrated as originally and what the posted invoice number is. You've then got your credit notes as well. So again, with the credit notes, you've got the credit notes here, you've got what credit note it is. So if I clicked on, let me think, if I clicked on one contract here, that will tell me contract 1004, what lines are on there, what invoice has been raised, all that. And you can filter this by your company, by your contract type. So contract types, filtering all the time. We can filter it by your items, by salesperson. You've got all this information. We then do the different analysis as well. So we have live contracts by status, your different status types, your different categories, when the anniversary dates are, by salesperson, and by that salesperson code if you're using it for another reason. Really good analysis there. We do the contracts at risk are terminated, who it is, what it is, where it is, what the salesperson is. We do analysis on terminated contracts, so who it is, again, different values, all that, all this sort of stuff comes in. That analysis on renewals. So what renewals are there, what status are they at, all that, we can really drill down on the information. And then we have historical billing analysis. So what invoices have been raised? When were they raised? What are the invoice numbers? All that, and we can export all this information into into Excel once it gets more, and you get that analysis. But then we have, because you would need to do, if you've got different billing profiles, you'd need to do different sort of analysis for your forecasting. But this is a list of and analysis on next invoice dates. So where were we invoicing? What is their profile? When is that next invoice date going to come through? Test data, and there's not a lot of data in there at present, but you can see after a while that becomes really good when you get a lot of data in there. So you can really forecast, you can really look, you can see by billing frequencies, by company, by item. You've got a lot of information in there that is good, and it will allow you as finance teams to be able to forecast correctly based on a number of different statuses on your members and subscribers. And again, it's Power BI, so this is a reporting pack that you get with the product. But if there's something that you want doing, we can help you achieve that. If there is, if the data is within the Power App, we can report on it in Power BI. So we can build these, this is the standard reporting pack that you get with the product. But if you wanted things doing slightly differently, absolutely no issues with us working with you to get that and prepare something that works in the format that you want it to work and in the layout you want it to work. And that's it. Just a recap of what we've been through today, because it's more detailed product, and it does more than what people first think when you talk about it. So again, this isn't something I'm demoing on a laptop, but you could be doing this on a mobile phone. You could be doing it on a tablet. You don't need to have BC open. Your management of your subscribers and members can all be done by that on a mobile and tablet device. I think it is always good to say your data is governed through BC. Your items, your customers must exist to put it and create a member or subscriber against. You don't need to manage two different systems. You're not, well, if you create a new customer in Business Central, you've not then got to populate it in a new customer table in the app to then choose that customer. Everything flows through really, really well. One source of data entry. You saw how, quick the invoices and credit notes are. I know we were waiting for the one to come through on an invoice batch, but in reality, you've got the system where you have all your members and subscribers. If you build them through daily, different contract anniversary days, you would come into the app in the morning and your invoice batches would be there for all the invoices that the system knows it needs to produce overnight. So if you got into the habit of producing them every day, you could do that. You could do it weekly. As long as you leave, that invoice batches page where the invoices come into just sits there as a proposed invoices. You could do it weekly, you could do it daily, you could do it every 2 hours if you wanted to, if you're creating them every 2 hours. But overnight, you will come in and it will generate the invoice batches for that day based on your billing profile and contract anniversary date. So they are there for you in the morning. Your renewal documentation, you saw it generated, you saw it stored in the app, you saw it emailing the member or subscriber. But that is based on a Word template. So obviously you have that page where it showed, if we go back to that page, but you go back to that page where it showed your values, your dates. That's taken from the Power App. You can have whatever you want before it, whatever you want after it. That is on you. It's a Word template. But you get that automated generation of that renewal doc that somebody can do. You're not having to do that for every customer. It's picking the data up from the system. Your full reporting by Power BI. And again, this isn't something that takes us long. It's great functionality. The updating of the deferral dates, all that sort of stuff. This isn't something that would, like I said before, it takes 10, 15, 20 days. Fully expect you to be up and running on this within 3 to 5 days. Really quick, really simple implementation for what it does and how it generates the documents. Really, really good. And that's it. So yeah, appreciate that is quite, we went in and we showed the process, but I'm sure there'll be some questions to go through. I'm sure there'll be some conversations to be had around individual organizational processes. So please do feel free to drop myself an email. My email address is there, daniel.booth@emans.com. Your account manager, if you're dealing with one of our account managers, or our generic hello@emans.com email address. You can see other, we've got the further resources on our websites, the emans.com, the nfp365.com. We're doing a number of different webinars over the next sort of 6 months especially. They can be found at emans.com/events, and keep up to date with what we're doing as a company, such as our sort of Be Good, Do Good charity initiatives on our LinkedIn site, which is there. Just a final thing from me, once this is finished, there will be a survey that comes up. Please do fill it in. We do take all your feedback really seriously and do review it. You get the chance there to suggest any other sorts of presentations or webinars that you'd like to see, or anything you want to look at in more detail. So please do fill that in openly and honestly. And yeah, that's it. So thank you very much for your time today. Hopefully you like the product, see what it does, enjoy what it does, and hopefully you see why we've done it to make this process as efficient as possible. Please do get in contact. Hopefully speak to you all soon. Stay safe. Thank you very much.